Hey, it's Brian from Winter Garden Yoga, and today I'm going to do my best to answer the question, what should I do before yoga class? Now, this question has got many layers, so the answer will have many layers. Grab a beverage, put your feet up, and let's get into it. Awesome. So let's start with the most fundamental answer to this question. We're going to strip it down to the most basic perspective. Let's say this is your first time ever trying yoga. Maybe you've seen Winter Garden Yoga's YouTube channel and you say, you know what, I want to try yoga. Maybe your friends are raving about the benefits of yoga and you want to try too. If you're brand new to yoga, the first thing you should do before yoga class is see a doctor. Get clearance for physical activity. You want to make sure that you have the requisite mobility, the requisite strength, the requisite cardiovascular health for the endurance. Sometimes even beginners classes, we can spend a lot of time standing on our feet. And if someone is particularly deconditioned or if they haven't done any physical activity for a while, it's a good idea to get checked out and make sure you're good to go. A bonus segment to this answer, getting clearance from your doctor. Get specific clearance from your doctor. Your doctor should tell you, don't bend your knee. Don't bring your arms overhead. Don't let your heart rate get too high. Or your doctor will say, everything's cool, don't worry, do whatever you want, you're good to go. Get clearance first. Now, once you've gotten clearance from your doctor, the next step might take a little bit of time, but the payoff will be huge. The next step is to do some research. You need to find a yoga studio that's going to be able to suit your needs. Unfortunately, these days, if you go to a yoga studio, you don't know what the heck you're going to bump into. You might be surrounded by farm animals. There might be a mirror disco ball involved. There might be a hot room and loud music. There might not. Yoga has a really big umbrella now. So the term yoga, you might have trapeze yoga, you might have farm animal yoga. I know I said that earlier, but that's why you've got to do your homework. You can do an internet search when you're home, yoga near me, and it'll bring up the yoga studios that are close to your home. If you're trying to do yoga closer to your work environment, wait till you're at work and do yoga near me in your work area. Read the reviews. Again, look for specificity. It's great when you read reviews and they say the studio is awesome, the teachers are awesome. I felt great after class. Those are great reviews and it's awesome to see that. But those reviews are not necessarily telling you what you need. You need to know why it's awesome. Was it awesome because the teacher modified yoga poses for someone who can't bend their knees? Was it awesome because you were taught at a safe, step-by-step, slow, progressive way or a regressive way? You were giving modifications, etc. Read the reviews, do your research, call the yoga studios, email the yoga studios, text the yoga studios, whatever you can do to find out, to make sure that the yoga studio is right for you. One of our clients was doing her research before she found Winter Garden Yoga, and she walked into a yoga studio. Just as she walked in, class was ending, and students were walking out of class. She said it looked like they had just come out of a swimming pool. They were completely drenched in sweat, and they were leaving wet footprints as they walked across the studio floor. She knew that wasn't right for her. She didn't have to ask. She didn't have to do anything. She turned around and left. But that might be perfect for you. It all depends on the goal, and it depends on what your doctor recommends. Okay, so that's kind of a long answer. Do your research, do your homework, find a yoga studio that's right for you. See if they have a trial offer, whether it's a free class. Sometimes it can be a week of unlimited yoga for a very low rate, etc. Also, little side note, make sure that if you're pregnant, specifically for pregnancy, prenatal yoga, postnatal yoga, those kinds of things, look for studios that have certified and qualified instructors specifically for your needs. That's a very specific other YouTube video, other Q&A kind of thing. But I wouldn't recommend going to a yoga studio and just expecting the teachers to know how to help you while you're prenatal or postnatal. Seek specific yoga studios and yoga teachers for that specific need. Okay, so you've gotten cleared from your doctor. You've done your research and you're going to go to the yoga studio. What should I do before yoga class? If it's your very, very, very first time to the yoga studio, give yourself plenty of time to get there. This is going to reduce stress. This is going to reduce anxiety. It's going to help you understand how parking is. It's going to help you understand like how long it takes you to get from your car to the studio, etc. There's nothing worse than on your very first day of yoga, you're late. Class has already begun. Now you're trying to fill out a waiver and you're trying to get your yoga mat and you're trying to get everything together and class has already started and it's not super smooth. It's very stressful for you. The first day, for sure, give yourself plenty of time to show up, plenty of time to fill out any paperwork. This is the time to discuss with your yoga teacher. I can't bend my knee. I can't have my arm straight. I have to watch my heart rate elevation, etc. And they should be able to talk you through it and offer modifications, etc. The first time you show up super early, the good news is you may not have to do that over and over and over again. Once you understand the culture of the area, you understand the parking and stuff, whether you have to take an elevator, etc., all that stuff becomes clear and you can refine your go time and your start time. First time for sure, I'd recommend leaving plenty of wiggle room for any technical difficulties that may occur before your first day of yoga class. So now you're cleared from your doctor. You've done your research. You've filled out the paperwork and you're starting to show up regularly. What should I do before yoga class? Check in with your teacher. Even if you've got a good rapport with your teacher, let your teacher know that you're there. Ask the teacher if you need yoga blocks or yoga straps or yoga blankets before class, especially if there's a substitute teacher. First and last names help. It may seem kind of redundant, it may seem kind of ridiculous, and again, you may not need to do this over and over again the more and more you attend the yoga studio. But I'll tell you, full disclosure, it takes me about 3 to 5 times for me to connect a name and a face. Sometimes we'll have 2 or 3 Sandras in one class. And someone comes in and says, "Hi, I'm Sandra." And I say, "Hi, which Sandra?" So first and last name, check in, see what you need for class. Once you've gotten what you need for class, quietly, gently, place your mat on the studio floor without making a sound. Don't just throw your yoga block on the ground, or clank, throw your yoga strap on the ground, or thud, throw your yoga blanket on the ground. There are people around you who might be trying to calm down and chill before class, and then just being loud with the props and throwing your yoga mat on the ground is rattling their nerves. One thing for sure, we hear from our clients a lot is Winter Garden Yoga is their oasis away from it all. So I encourage our clients to just have an oasis sort of mentality. Come in, be quiet. And that is the next level of this question. You've been cleared by your doctor. You've done your research. You're coming to yoga regularly. You're checking in with the yoga teacher and the substitute yoga teachers. You're grabbing whatever props you need and gently placing them on the ground. So when students are at this level and they ask, what should I do before yoga class? Usually they're asking, should I warm up before yoga? Should I stretch before yoga? What should I do before yoga? In my opinion, based on my experience as a student and as a teacher, when you come to yoga class, you should sit and be quiet. That's it. Not lie down and be quiet, sit and be quiet. And here's the reason why. You want to conserve as much energy as you can, and you want to build up as much energy as you can to put into your yoga practice. When I was a student and I used to practice on the east end of Orlando here in Central Florida, there were a handful of us who would sit and be quiet during class, or before class began, I should say. Because we knew what class entailed. Sometimes class was pretty tough. It was vigorous. We wanted to conserve our energy to get through class. Other students would come in and they'd be socializing, chit-chatting about the weather, complaining about the parking, complaining about the traffic, and chit-chatting and just burning a lot of energy before class even began. More often than not, those students would run out of energy. They would have to take breaks. They would stop. They would have to use the bathroom. They would stop and drink water. I'm not saying these things are wrong or bad, but in my opinion, it's just indicative of a distracted mind. You want to be focused and ready to go. If you lie down before class, you might deregulate, or what's the word I'm looking for? You might power down too much. I've heard people snoring before class. So now you've got to wake up and you've got to try to lift yourself up, and then halfway through class, you still have cobwebs in your head. That's not super safe, and it's not super conducive to the practice. It's not wrong, it's not bad. But if an experienced student is asking me, Brian, what should I do before class? My answer is sit and be quiet. You can put your back against the wall if you need to for support. You can put yoga blocks under your hips if you need to, if your low back is stiff. When you get your hips higher than your knees, it's easier to sit on the ground. Close your eyes, just sit and be quiet. Some folks will ask, well, don't I need to warm up? The answer is no. If you are going to a studio that has a very well programmed yoga class or yoga sequence, it should gradually ramp up, reach a peak, and then ramp down. So the first segments, the first sequences should be a warm-up in themselves. They should be getting the joints loose or getting the blood flowing. Then you gradually build up to more and more demanding poses, whatever that means, until you reach a peak, and then you start to cool down, wind down, and then you have what's called final rest. So in my opinion, warming up before a warm-up Again, it's just burning precious energy you could be using to focus on your practice. Now, if you think you need to warm up, if the doctor has told you you have to warm up and that's fine, and you think you need to work your way through something, it's fine. Do so quietly, do so on your mat, and just try to do a less intense version of what it is you're working through. The science that's out there suggests that if you're going to warm up, joint rotations, joint mobility, things of that nature, that seems to be okay. It helps lubricate your joints, it gets your muscles warm. Or a less intense version of what you're about to do. Even if you're strength training. If you're strength training and you're getting ready to do a bench press, you don't necessarily need to warm up. If you do, just do a lighter bench press to what's called grease the groove. You get the groove going and then gradually build your way up to your sub-maximal bench press. It's the same thing with yoga. If you're going to do warm-ups and if you're going to move around and practice triangle pose or whatever, just do a gentle, lighter version just to kind of get the rust out of the hinges, and then use the rest of your energy for practice. Now, I think that covers everything. A quick summary. And if I missed anything, please share your comments here, right here on YouTube. Share your comments. I'll do my best to respond. But a quick summary. Number one, get clearance from your doctor. Number two, do your research and make sure you found the right yoga studio for you. Room temperature yoga might not be for you. Hot yoga might be what you need. Hot yoga might not be the thing for you. You might need room temperature yoga. So do your research. Show up early on the very, very first day to fill out all the paperwork, keep your stress levels down. Check in with the teacher, especially a substitute teacher. Let them know first and last name. Grab whatever tools you need for class. Just quietly, gently place them on the ground. Sit quietly. Eyes open or eyes closed. You can catch up on all the socialization and stuff after class, depending on how your studio's classes are scheduled. Just catch up as you're putting your yoga blocks away or whatever. If you feel the need to warm up, just keep it light, keep it to yourself, keep it quiet, and that's it. Save all of your energy you can for class. It's just a safer way, a safer and more efficient way to practice. I think that's it. Again, if I missed anything, please hit me up in the comments. If you have a question you'd like me to address, hit me up in the comments. Thanks again for watching. Go forth and be awesome.